A lot of people are asking about quantum dot OLED and basically what is the next level? What does it look like? What's it going to do? We don't really have to guess because we have quantum dots right now in 2021. So what I wanted to do before 2022 comes out and they kind of show you all the next levels of quantum dot with OLED, I kind of wanted to show you the differences that you can kind of notice, look out for, and maybe some things that might not make a difference at all. So we're going to start off by talking about some of these images that we're going to be seeing and just kind of going over some of the basics. Now, one of the immediate concerns that people have is that current OLED right now is not as explosive as the quantum dot OLEDs could potentially be. But I think that's not necessarily the case because to the left we have the best LED/QLED television of 2021, the Hisense U8G, and to the right we have the LG C1, literally the best OLED money can buy right now. Fact. Like when you put these two TVs side by side, you see a lot of different things start happening, but I want to kind of point out a couple different things. Now, a special note, I am still moving and unpacking everything and trying to get situated, so we're roughing it a little bit. This is going to have to be cell phone footage. It's not going to be the normal high-end rig that I usually use, but you can still see a good amount of things, and my commentary will help you out with that. So follow through until the end to get the full scope of what I'm saying here. Okay, so when you look at the face and this general area here, you're going to notice that on camera, it looks overexposed, really bright, really red. Colors are probably going to look really off. However, in reality, there is more luminosity coming off of her face here and all of these little areas of highlight detail that you just don't have on the Hisense U8G to the left. And again, this comes down to highlight rendering. Now, that in turn does affect color volume. Not to say that you have more color volume on the C1, but you do notice that you do have a little bit more in the way of pop versus what you're going to get on the Hisense. However, Hisense does have incredible detail, standing up really, quite honestly, next to the C1 without any real issue. So in images like this, you're going to notice that it's going to be, again, more of the same thing as far as a pop perspective. I don't know how much of this is going to show through on YouTube, but essentially the pink here is way more vibrant than it is here. And so you're getting into a weird little territory here where some colors, even though you don't necessarily have quantum dot, can be way more explosive. For example, blues. If you look at the blue here, it's just going to have more variation, more shades, and it's going to be more lifelike than this. And this is because the LG OLED uses a WRGB type panel. The WRGB type panel allows you to be able to increase the accuracy of the color blue, and that's just one of its big benefits, and we're seeing it play out here. Now again, you can look at things like the skin tone as well. If you look, you'll see more red in her cheeks and things like that versus here, where it's kind of one general color. That's one of the hugest benefits with this OLED, the LG C1, to be very specific. So again, some people might write it off as like maybe not a big deal, but this over time does add up to become a really big issue. Now, again, the reason we're doing this is to show you guys that as time goes on, the OLED technology that we have right now is really, quite frankly, stellar, and it does hold up very well even against quantum dot technology. I mean, just look at this image, very vibrant. Now, I'd give the edge, honestly, to the Hisense in this example because of the pure detail coming out of the Hisense, that the C1, frankly, is looking a little bit more flat by comparison. However, I can say that just the sheer amount of vibrancy, pop, and just brightness, frankly, is better on the C1 for things like this where you have a certain percentage of brightness that needs to be illuminated. It does it a lot more intelligently because, of course, it's self-emissive. So obviously when you start adding quantum dots, I feel like it's just going to be a more vibrant version of this. But the question then comes to beg, do you really need that? Because what we have right now is already pretty vibrant, as you guys can clearly see. Now, as I look down on my phone screen and look at the screens themselves, they are way off. I mean, like, she looks like an Oompa Loompa right here, and then I look up and she looks normal. So again, camera science and technology is going to try to do their form of corrections, if you will, and it will throw off some things. So seriously follow the information until the end. One thing you can kind of see is the different variations in blue. Hisense is targeting a darker shade of blue here, where it's supposed to be a brighter shade of blue here. So color accuracy is one thing that LG is knocking out of the park. What this means for you is that even though you have quantum dots in this QLED over here, it's still presenting a competent image that is competing very strongly. And again, you can just kind of see it in like tit for tat each scene. Now, this is one of those scenes where you are noticing QLED have a bit of an advantage, and I would say the advantage comes into when you have most of the screen filled up with color. As you see here, all of this is just way more vibrant than it is on the C1 to the right. And then counteractively, as we look in the back, now it's able to isolate and separate those colors way better than what we get on LG, which again, just look a little bit more faded and washed out by comparison. So as we go through and we make these kind of assessments and we look scene to scene, we're really pixel peeping at this point, right? So I'm sure a lot of people, as they get their brand new Quantum.OLED, probably won't pixel peep half this hard, so it'll be very easy to be sold on the benefits of what they say is a more vibrant picture or what they say is more colorful. But when you start looking for accuracy and when you start looking for details and you start looking for color quality, there's no doubt that the current technology that we have right now is actually pretty darn stellar. And my point being is that if you were on the fence about buying in 2021, maybe should you buy a LG C1 or should you wait for the C2 or Sony's Quantum.OLED or maybe Samsung's Quantum.OLED, I'm here to let you know that they're either way you go going to be excellent TVs, as you guys can clearly see here. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments down below. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.